throughout this series, we have covered some of the offensive options that you have within the sections that we covered. So we had under the legs, through the legs, and around the legs. And sometimes within that, we talked about when you can start to attack. One thing we haven't really touched on much is K-guard, which is actually going to expose a few things. So it's something you can look. It's a leg positioning you can look to set up while you're retaining your guard, and it's almost. I guess the idea is, from a mentality point of view, is you might see an opportunity to spin back and face your opponent, but instead you're actually going to stay halfway through your retention and look to get this K-guard positioning so that when you do want to attack, it's actually a much more better offensive position. So I'm going to go through how I use the K-guard to get into a leg entanglement and so on, or how I set up the K-guard during the retention, really. It's not a full K-guard instructional. Like once we're there, that's almost a separate instructional. I do have something like that on my leg lock instructional. But I'm going to go through that, and Ari is going to go through some of the upper body submission options we have when we get this K-guard positioning too. So when we talk about the K-guard, what are we referring to? Well, it's when I'm saying K-guard, but it's not even K-guard yet. It's my foot's on the outside and my knees on the inside. K-guard would be like when I'm actually attached to the legs and everything's in place, which is kind of going to be almost our end point for where we stop here. This is where we want to get to. But throughout a lot of the retention, we're going to end up in positions where our foot's on the outside and our knees on the inside. I'll give you a few examples of that now. If Ari goes under the legs and we use one of our methods of freeing our knee, often we end up with the foot on the outside, knee on the inside, and that can lead us into K-guard. Okay. If Ari passes around towards the north-south, a lot of our retention from here involves pummeling our foot back to here. Okay. Once we get that, we have the ability to start to enter into the K-guard.